Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be revealing who is my next rank 3 champion. If you may recall, last week I did a poll saying that it would likely be a tech champion, and I was deliberating between War Machine, who is a SIG 40 champion at rank 2, or Nebula, who is a SIG 20 champion only at rank 1. So it would have been a pretty big investment to take her all the way up from 1 to 3, but seeing some of the things that I had seen from some of the big YouTubers and other people in my alliance and greater community, I was pretty impressed with Nebula. So the poll results came in and Nebula did end up winning the poll. It was about like a 60-40 split or so. So that was one check in the box of Nebula. However, the people that really wanted War Machine actually reached out to me and sent me private messages and left things on the poll being like, hey, you really don't want to be sleeping on War Machine. So that immediately got me thinking that maybe I would need to consult a few other people. So I talked to some battle group officers as well. We really discussed the next war season and especially the high ground tactic and what that was going to mean, and kind of went back and forth a lot. And what I ended up deciding was going for War Machine. Now, I am not a noob to War Machine. In fact, if you check out the description of this video, I actually created a guide where I looked at the buff of War Machine when it first came out. I took him to rank 2 and did some pretty impressive things with him as a rank 2 champion. So I've sort of always had my eye on this guy. Plus, I did the arena for him to get 20 SIGs on him. So that first dupe was actually an arena grind somewhere in the 80 million round. Around about 80 million points or so. So, for me, I already invested in this champion a lot, and I thought a lot about him in the past as well. It's just I looked at other champions that I pulled after him, like Warlock or Ultron, for example. They got the nod before he did, but now that Nebula was looking really spicy, I really kind of had her in the mix as well. But here's the one thing that it came down to for me, and it was the high ground war tactic, which, as you know, they build up charges over time, which increases this energy damage that goes through your block. And the cool thing about War Machine is one of his pre-fights is called Fortify, and you gain energy resistance equal to your armor rating. And his armor is massive. This is something I talked about in my original video. His armor comes in at like about 3,600 armor rating, which means you get that much energy resistance, which is a pretty decent amount of energy resistance. It's not like SIG 200 Guardian level, but you're definitely well on your way to that, especially with the diminishing return system. So the fact that he can do that, he has like infinite of these pre-fights, and he also has the ability, if he wins a fight, he can give it to someone else, or he can just give it to someone else as a pre-fight machine right out of the gate. I looked at that very highly compared to Nebula, who actually creates shocks. And if you read the fine print on high ground, there's a list of debuffs like degen, incinerate, and shock. I think there may be more, where if you inflict that on the opponent, then it's going to make the altitude timer go even faster, which means they're just going to be stacking more and more of those things, and you'll be taking more block damage. And considering Nebula needs to hold block in her kit, I know there are ways around it. It seems sort of like a bad match with this current war season. Now, that's not to say moving forward she's going to be a very, very prevalent war attacker, and of course she is going to be making a lot of appearances on other people's war teams this season. I'm sure of it. The other thing is she does kind of require running the recoil tree masteries. I wouldn't say require, but since you're generally using her as a nuke option, you'd want as much attack as possible. We saw Karate Mike use the synergy with Guillotine 2099 so that she basically starts with a bar of power because she's immune to the bleed and poison that come from those masteries, and so she gains power. It's a very cool interaction. There's also the Proxima synergy. So, Nebula is a very powerful champ. I think she's going to make it into a lot of people's war teams, but I'm personally not seeing it on my team currently, and I thought I could help out my battle group more with this guy as a rank 3. So that's going to be the end of this first part of the video, I'm going to transition next to just one fight because as I said, I do have sort of a more extensive guide of him when he was a rank 2. So if you're interested in seeing his abilities and sort of like why I rate him where I do, you can check that out in the description. But next up, we're going to transition to a clip of the Bishop boss from the Platinum Pool event. And you're going to see exactly how tanky and how hard of a counter to Bishop this guy is. And I hope you enjoy the clip. So coming right up. All right, so right here we have the clip. As a reminder, this is the Bishop boss in the Platinum Pool side event that is happening right now. I'm going to be putting on the Fortify boost, which is the energy resistance, as well as Skirmish, which is like general attack and debuff duration. And he has about as much health as a stacked Alliance War Defender, a little bit less attack. Vigorous Assault means if he does proc his regen, he'll go unblockable. I'm basically not going to be able to parry for a lot of the fight because of ability reduction. There's going to be some Incinerates on me. So I want you to pay attention to how much damage the Incinerates do when they get on me. And you'll also notice that because of the armor up, he's very tanky. His blocks and parries and stuff are barely doing any damage. I'm mostly just kind of holding block here, waiting out the unstoppable timer. I'm just going to keep holding block because my goal is to be pushing him to special 2s. Those in general are a little bit better, less effects you have to deal with. So right here, he gets to a special 2. We're going to try to bait it out. Still trying to bait it, and I kind of take a blocked hit and then back off. But as you can see, the blocked hit is doing nothing. I'm willpower healing a ton off of that Incinerate debuff. So it's not a strong debuff to begin with, but the fact that I have the energy resistance is making it basically do nothing. And it's just like a free heal on us. So once again, we're going to go back. As you can see, I'm almost at 100% health still. Like I haven't lost any health. Because we threw our special 2, we have the armor break. I just refreshed it with a heavy. The goal is to get 2 armor breaks up. In these types of fights, I'm not going to be going to my special 3, which does grant you a very big passive fury, but I think it does kind of mess with the flow of the fight. So there we go. There's the second armor break. He's almost down. We're still at 100% health. Refresh those again. So those should last for the rest of the fight. At this point, we just have to bait out one more special 2. And once again, you just take like a tiny blocked hit. It barely does any damage and swipe back for the rest of it. He does have a prowess on him. So if I wanted to, and I do, you can throw the special 1 that cancels out prowess on him. So if those ever do build up, you're going to be fine if you just throw a special 1. And at this point, he's down. So I just wanted to show you guys how easy that was. And it's not necessarily like a one-to-one like Alliance War experience, but it was about the same amount of health as an Alliance War experience. And in general, I was just pretty impressed with how that all looked, okay? So that's one of the reasons I ranked him up, was for the pre-fights, for the Bishop fights. He can also take Kitty Pryde. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to give him a whirl, take him out for a spin, and maybe see him in some of the Alliance War seasons. So, you know, Nebula is definitely on the radar still. So thank you to everyone who tried to encourage me to rank her. I think she is definitely going to go to rank 3 in the next, I'll say, like month or 2. But for now, I'm very happy with this decision. And that's going to do it for now. So thanks for checking out this video, and I'll catch you guys soon.